Hello lovelies, welcome back to my YouTube channel where I'll be learning how to make this beautiful design. Kindly click on the subscribe button and also on the bell icon if you are new to this channel, and if you have done so, thank you so much. In today's tutorial, materials needed include raw silk fabric, wadding or padded, needle and thread, measuring tape, as well as matching color of thread and needle. For this tutorial, we are working on a headwear design that could come in form of either a Zara headband or a Zara cap. And for this illustration, it will be coming in form of a Zara headband. Then there's this pleated design in front of it and by the side, and at the back you also have any form of embellishment you so desire. Now the band or the Zara cap, whichever you prefer, will have the band part that has the marco. The design in front, to make it puffy, it is going to be padded and pleated in form of steps, and then we have the design at the back, which could be any design of your choice. It could be loops, it could be rose, it could be crinoline, it could be made with crinoline and all that. So that's what basically makes up this design. I'm going to be using raw silk fabric for mine. In place of raw silk fabric, you can use any other fabric like your satin, your ankara, even your ashoke fabric will be good for this particular design. For the padding, I will use wadding or padded, and then 1 yard of raw silk fabric will be more than enough for this design. Once 1 yard of raw silk will be more than enough to get this particular design. This is all what makes up this design. So I'll go over to the fabric and their measurements. Now, starting with the band part, I have the first piece of fabric here for the Zara headband. Measurement is 6.5 inches for the width by 23.5 inches for the length. 23.5 is on the stretchy part of the fabric, which is the length or the head circumference, while 6.5 inches is the width, which is on the non-stretchy part of the fabric. 23.5 by 6.5 inches. For my marco, I have my fabric here. The length is 20 inches. The width is 3 inches, 20 by 3 inches. And if you don't have up to 20 inches, you can also use 18 inches, but the width remains 3 inches. So that is it for this. Now, moving on to the pleated fabric, the pleated padded fabric that will be in front. You need as many pieces of fabric as you desire, depending on the number of steps that you want to get. I'll be working with about 7 pieces of fabric for the front design. I'll be working with about 7 pieces of fabric. You can increase it or you can decrease it. That's up to you. The measurement is 3 inches for the width, and then the length is 30 inches. 3 by 30 inches. 3 inches for the width by 30 inches for the length. 30 inches for the length is on the stretchy part of the fabric, which is the head circumference. So that is what will be needed for the front design. Now, get the fabric for the padded design in front and also the fabric for the headband itself. So I have a piece of fabric here. Remember that the fabric for the padded design is up to 7 pieces for mine. So fold each piece of fabric into 2 and then make your straight sewing stitch from one end of the fabric down to the other end, just as you have seen in the video or you have seen me do. Then go ahead to turn your fabric inside out. After turning your fabric inside out, we will now take measurements, then get the perfect measurement for the wadding or the padded, and then we'll go ahead to cut out for the wadding or padded and insert inside our fabric. So remember, you have these 7 pieces, then you have the headband 1 pieces, which is in total 8 pieces. Now, starting with the fabric for the headband, I've sewn my fabric, I've turned it inside out, and I have the sewn part at the middle of the fabric. So this is how it's looking. I will go ahead to get my marco, which is for the band. This is it, and I'm going to be passing it inside this fabric, and I will ensure that the mark sits at the middle of this fabric. So that is it. So this is it. I'll just fold the mark while I ensure that the sewn part is at the middle. I'll put this in all the way till it gets to the end. Then I'll come back for us to continue. So right here I have my fabric with my mark inserted in it. This is how it's looking like. This is the wrong side, and you can see that the sewn part is at the middle, and I also have my mark seated at the middle of my fabric. To continue, I will just go ahead to fold this into 2 equal halves this way. I'll take it down to my sewing machine, stitch it down. After stitching it down, I will turn it to the other side like this, and then I'll set it aside while I work on the padded design that will be on it. Now moving on to the padded design, I have my fabric here already sewn. Then whatever I'm doing for this should be done for others. I have my safety pin here. I'll go ahead to add my safety pin to one side of the fabric. Okay, then I'll pin it down. Go ahead to start passing it inside until it comes out from the other end. Now that is out, I'll open it up, then get my measuring tape, and then go ahead to take the measurement of the width. So based on my sewing allowance, I'm having about 1.2 inches right here. I'm having about 1.2 inches based on my sewing allowance. It could differ with yours based on your sewing allowance. So the width from my padded fabric should be 1.2 inches. So I have to cut out 1.2 inches twice, and then the length I'm going to be cutting 28 inches. The length of your wadding should be a bit shorter than that of your fabric so that it will sit inside your fabric. So for wadding, I'm cutting out 1.2 inches twice by 28 inches for the length. So the width is already 1.2 inches. You need to cut it out twice because we are doubling it, we are padding it to give it thickness, to achieve a thicker look. That is the reason why we are doubling it. Another option, another way to do it is to cut 2.5 inches for the width. So when the width is 2.5 inches, you fold it into 2 like this. When you fold into 2, you have that 1.2.5 inches to insert in your fabric. So when you have 2.5 inches for the width, the length will still remain 28 inches. So it's two ways. Either you cut 1.2 inches, two different pieces of wadding per fabric. So for 7 pieces of fabric, you'll be for 7 pieces of fabric, you'll be cutting 14 pieces of wadding. 7 pieces of fabric, 14 pieces of wadding. The measurement is 1.2 inches by 28 inches. Or you cut out 7 pieces of fabric with 7 pieces of wadding, but the measurement will be 2.5 inches for the width by 28 inches for the length. 2.5 inches by 28 inches 7 times. So what you do is that you get your fabric, you fold it into 2 like this. You see that it's now doubled, and then you go ahead to pass it inside your fabric. Okay, that's what I'll be doing right now. So I'll go ahead to fold this into 2. Get my scissors, fold it like this, fold it like this. So this is how it's looking like. Now go ahead to repeat the same thing for the other pieces of fabric that you have also cut out. Right here I have all other pieces sewn, turned inside out, and I also have my wording inserted in it. What I now did next was I folded each piece of fabric into 2 equal halves, and I marked down the middle part of each piece of fabric so that it will be easier to work with. Now I will set this aside, and then I will get the band, the headband itself. For my headband, I've also folded it into 2 equal halves, and then I've marked down the midpoint. I don't know if it's visible. I've also marked down the midpoint, so I'll be working with this. The first thing I'll do is to get the first piece of fabric. I marked down the midpoint of it too. So I'm just going to place it at the middle of my headband. So if my headband is about 3 inches for the width, it should be on around that 1.5 inches mark. So midpoint of the padded fabric aligning with the midpoint of the headband, I will get my gum. I'm going to be making use of gum more, and I will glue this thing round like this. So that is what I'm going to be doing next. So this is it. I've glued down the first padded fabric. This will serve as a base for our design. Now I'm going to place this on my dummy head like this, and then we're going to start our design. We'll still use more of gum. So I have the first padded fabric here. I'll apply my gum, and then I'll start from the middle part. This middle part is going to remain like this. I'll glue it down on it at the middle. Then I'm going to start taking this right part upwards gradually in form of step. So it goes upwards in form of step, while this part will start coming downwards gradually in form of step 2, and I will glue it together. Okay, so this left part starts coming in form of step. As I place one, it comes down, it will keep coming down, and I will be gluing it. While this right part, after gluing down the middle to the middle point, this right part will keep going upwards in form of step until it gets to the end of the fabric. I'll also use my gum to glue it down. So this is it. I'll continue in this order. I'll start from the midpoint. I'll add the midpoint, then the right side. It comes on top, layer. It keeps going higher. While this left side will keep coming lower, to keep coming down in steps, So I want to go off camera to apply my gum and keep repeating the same thing on it until it comes down for the left side and it goes higher for the right side, and I exhaust all fabric. So for the padded part, start by applying gum at the middle. Then place your padded fabric on it. Now for the right part that is going upwards, your gum should be on the lower part of the fabric. So you apply your gum on the lower part of the fabric for the right part of the padded design that is going upwards, as seen in the video. Pull your fabric and then stretch it. Please allow air to pass through your gum a bit before you glue your fabric down. Now coming over to the other part, the left side, where the padded fabric is coming downwards, your gum should be placed upwards, that is at the upper part of your fabric. So the second side, where the pleated part is coming downwards, should have your gum upwards. Right here I have my design made. If you look close, you see I have up to 7 steps. I also want to emphasize that padding it is not a must. You can decide to use only a single pieces of wording instead of doubling the wording in your fabric. Then please, while working with while working with gum, try as much as possible to be very careful so as to avoid gum stains, and then you have a very neat work. Then take note of where, if you are placing it upwards, where you apply your gum. You are placing it downwards, where and how you apply your gum. You don't apply your gum everywhere, so that this inner part will look neat, and it will not look, this inner part will look neat. You will not have gum stains at the back. So this is it. Coming to the end, what I did was to arrange the end and then tack it down with my needle and thread. So if you look closely, you see I've tacked down with my needle and thread. Then I'm going to go ahead to now trim off this excess fabric that I have here so that it looks neater. Then we'll now work on the design that will be added down to the back right here. So that's what is left. And for the design that will be added at the back, you can add any design of your choice down to the back. So this is it. I will tack down, then get back for us to continue. Now for the design at the back, first two designs, I have this strap of fabric. Measurement is 3 inches for the width and then 30 inches for the length. 3 by 30 inches, you cut twice or more depending on what you want to get. Then go ahead to fold the fabric into 2 equal halves. Sew it down from one end to the other. After sewing, you go ahead to turn it inside out. Before now, I've already done mine. So I have my fabric here already sewn and then turned inside out. And in addition to this piece of fabric, I have my crinoline here. This should be the strong type of crinoline because there is a softer type and there is a harder type. So get the hard type of crinoline. So it should be anywhere around 1.5 inches. Now go ahead to insert your crinoline inside your fabric for each piece of fabric. Remember, we're working with 2 pieces of fabric, just as I have done. So insert it on both pieces of fabric and then get back. Now that we are done, we'll go ahead to creating the design. So whatever I'm doing for this piece of fabric should also be done for the second piece of fabric as well. So this is me now. Please just watch carefully and repeat the video if you have to, just to get it. I'm creating a loop like this. So you come like this to create this loop. And then coming from the lower part, please watch the way my hands are positioned. then I create this loop again. So I have 2 loops. I'll take it again. So this is how this is. Your loops, are not creating big loops, so we're creating small loops. This is how this ends. This is how it is. With my right hand, place it down like this, and I have this. Then using my left hand, this longer part of the fabric, see the way I'm folding it and placing it down on this edge from the upper part. Okay, then I'll position it down like this. Then I have this left over here. Using my right hand, I will turn it down to get this. So that's all that there is to it. Just try as much as possible to make it small or make them to be of the same sizes. I'll go ahead to tag this down and repeat the same thing for the second pieces, then get back. At this point, I have both pieces already sewn. This is the first one and this is the second one. So this is how I'll be tacking it down on my design. So I'll get the back here. I'll place this one down like this, and then I will tack it down. I will get the second one, place it at the back too like this, and I will tack it down together. So let me tack this using my needle and thread and get back. So this is it after tacking it down. This is how the back is looking. Lastly, I have fabric for my rose here. I have 5.5 by 30 inches. 5.5 by 30 inches. So I'll get my fabric, fold it into 2 equal halves. The 30 inches is on the stretchy part, while the 5.5 inches is the width on the non-stretchy part. So I'll fold into 2, get my needle and thread, and I'm making a running stitch from one end of the fabric down to the other end. On getting to the end, I'll go ahead to pull my thread. Then I'll start placing my fabric in a round pattern. So I'll just take it round like this, and then I will use my needle and thread to tack it down together. After tackling it down, I will apply gum at the back and then glue it at the back, the middle part of these loops that I created, and that is all. So let me first tack down this fabric rolls together after taking it round and round. So as soon as I'm done tacking and gluing, this is the back view. This is how it looks like. This is the side view. The unique thing about this design is there's actually no front or back. You can wear it like this on the head, and then when you turn it to this other side, you can also wear it like this. Just ensure that your work is neat, gum stains are minimal, and your tacking is firm. So this brings us to the end of today's tutorial. Thank you for watching. Kindly like, share, and leave comments in the comment section. To join our WhatsApp community, check the description box below for the link. Also do well to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We are there as JenieConcept.